Good evening students. In the last class we solved the numericals related to refractive index. In today's class we are going to discuss about the Doppler effect and also interference of light. What do you mean by Doppler effect? So Doppler effect is the apparent change in frequency of the light wave when there is a relative motion between the observer and source of light. See here. Doppler effect. In case of Doppler effect, we are going to consider two cases. What are those cases? The source of light moving towards the stationary observer and also the source of light moving away from the stationary observer. So, first case, when source of light moving towards stationary observer. Here stationary observer means the observer is at rest, moving towards a stationary observer. Stationary observer. Then the apparent wavelength observed by the observer. What is the apparent wavelength observed by the observer? See here. So here the source of light moving towards the stationary observer. Let us consider he is the observer and the source of light, it is the source of light. So source of light can be taken as S and the observer can be taken as O. When the source of light moving towards the stationary observer means observer is at rest, then what is the apparent wavelength observed by the observer? Apparent wavelength. So what is the formula for apparent wavelength? Here the wavelength decreases as the source of light moving towards the stationary observer, the wavelength decreases. As the wavelength decreases, frequency increases. Now see it. Apparent wavelength, that is lambda dash is equal to lambda into 1 minus of V by C. 1 minus of V by C. What is lambda? Lambda is actual wavelength of the light. And what is V? V is the speed of source of light. It is the speed of source of light, and C is the speed of light, where lambda is actual wavelength. Lambda is actual wavelength. V is the speed of source of light. V is the speed of source of light. The speed of source of light, and C is the speed of light, and C is the speed of light. C is the speed of light. Now the apparent wavelength received by the observer or the apparent wavelength observed by the observer decreased by the factor 1 minus of V by C. 1 minus of V by C. Then what is the apparent change in wavelength? What is the apparent change in wavelength? So what is the first case here? The source of light moving towards the stationary observer. Then apparent change in wavelength. Apparent change in wavelength. What is the expression for the apparent change in wavelength? So let us multiply this bracket by lambda. Lambda dash is equal to lambda into 1, that is lambda, minus lambda into V by C. Lambda into V by C. Then apparent change in wavelength is nothing but it is the difference between the apparent wavelength and actual wavelength. Means I will take this lambda to the left hand side. Lambda dash minus lambda, that is equal to 1 minus of lambda into V by C. So minus lambda into V by C. Now what is lambda minus lambda? That is apparent change in wavelength. That apparent change in wavelength can be represented by delta lambda, that is equal to minus of lambda into V by C. What negative sign indicates here? The negative sign indicates that as the source of light moving towards the stationary observer, the wavelength decreases. Wavelength decreases. As the wavelength decreases, frequency increases. Now, what is the apparent frequency observed by the observer? What is the apparent change in wavelength? The apparent change in wavelength is delta lambda is equal to minus of lambda into V by C. Remember this formula. Here, what is lambda? Lambda is actual wavelength. V is the speed of source of light and C is the speed of light. What negative sign indicates here? The negative sign indicates that there is a decrease in wavelength. There is a decrease in wavelength as the source of light moving towards the observer. Next, apparent frequency observed by the observer. Apparent frequency observed by the observer. So, formula for apparent frequency, that is nu dash. Nu dash is equal to nu into 1 plus V by C. Here the frequency increased by the factor 1 plus V by C. Okay. Wavelength decreased by the factor 1 minus V by C, but the frequency increased by the factor 1 plus V by C. Once again, what is nu? Nu is actual frequency, where nu is actual frequency of light wave. Then what is V? As it is, V is the speed of source of light. V is the speed of source of light. V is the speed of source of light. Next one, what is C? C is the speed of light. C is the speed of light. Okay. Then remember this formula. What is the apparent frequency observed by the observer when the source of light moving towards the observer? That is nu dash is equal to nu into 1 plus V by C. Next, what is the apparent change in frequency? Apparent change in frequency. Apparent change in frequency. So, I will multiply this bracket by nu. See here, nu into 1, that is nu. Nu dash is equal to nu into 1, that is nu. Then, so nu into V by C plus nu into V by C. Now, I will take this nu to the left hand side. Then nu dash minus of nu plus becomes minus, that is equal to nu into plus nu into V by C. What positive sign indicates here? The positive sign indicates that the frequency increases as the source of light moving towards the observer. Now, nu dash minus of nu can be written as delta nu. This delta nu is nothing but apparent change in frequency. That is, delta nu is equal to nu into V by C. Nu into V by C. So, this is the first case. What is the first case here? The source of light moving towards the stationary observer. Then what is the second case? When the source of light moving away from the stationary observer. Suppose the source of light moving away from the stationary observer. Then here what happens? Here wavelength increases, but frequency decreases. In case of the source of light moving away from the stationary observer, the wavelength increases but frequency decreases. So, second case. Second case, when the source of light moving away from stationary observer. So, when the source of light moving away from the stationary observer, and this Doppler effect is called redshift. Why it is called red shift? Because wavelength increases but frequency decreases. Now, what is the apparent wavelength received by the observer? Apparent wavelength. Apparent wavelength that can be observed by or that can be received by the observer, that is lambda dash is equal to, apparent wavelength can be represented by lambda dash. Lambda dash is equal to lambda into 1 plus V by C. Here the wavelength increased by the factor 1 plus V by C when the source of light moving away from the stationary observer. Then what is apparent change in wavelength? I will write directly. Apparent change in wavelength. Apparent change in wavelength. Now, so what about apparent change in wavelength? It is the lambda dash minus of lambda. So apparent wavelength minus actual wavelength, that is equal to lambda into V by C. But there is a plus. What here positive sign indicates? The positive sign indicates that as the source of light moving away from the stationary observer, the wavelength increases. Wavelength increases. Now remember this formula. This is the formula to find the apparent change in wavelength when the source of light moving away from the stationary observer. Then we can write this equation as delta lambda is equal to plus lambda into V by C. Lambda into V by C. Then once again, what is lambda? Lambda is actual wavelength. What is V? V is speed of source of light and C is the speed of light. Now, what is apparent frequency received by the observer when the source of light moving away from the observer? So, now let us move to the next point. Apparent frequency. This is apparent frequency in case of redshift. So once again, listen here. If the source of light moving towards the stationary observer, this shift is called blue shift. But here the source of light moving away from the observer, then this shift is called red shift. Now, apparent frequency in red shift. What is the formula for apparent frequency? That is nu dash is equal to nu into 1 minus V by C. Here the frequency decreased by the factor 1 minus of V by C when the source of light moving away from the stationary observer. Then once again, what is nu? Nu is actual frequency. What is V? V is speed of source of light. What is C? That is speed of light. Next, what is apparent change in frequency? So apparent change in frequency, I will write directly. Apparent change in frequency. Now, so that is nu dash minus of nu. So apparent frequency minus actual frequency, that gives apparent change in frequency. Nu dash minus of nu is equal to minus nu into V by C. Minus nu into V by C. What negative sign indicates here? When the source of light moving away from the observer, the frequency decreases. The frequency decreases. Now nu dash minus nu can be written as delta nu. Then this gives the apparent change in frequency, that is minus of nu into V divided by C. So this is the expression for the apparent change in frequency when the source of light moving away from the stationary observer. This is all about Doppler effect. So next topic is interference of light. What do you mean by interference of light? It is the superposition of two or more light waves. Okay. Now there are two types of interference of light. What are those? Constructive interference and destructive interference. First one, constructive interference. In case of constructive interference, what happens? The crest of one wave falls on the crest of another wave, and the trough of one wave falls on the trough of another wave. See here. this is first wave and this is second wave. So let us take it is first wave and it is second wave, means it is second wave. Okay. Now crest of first wave falls on the crest of second wave and the trough of first wave falls on the trough of second wave. Okay. Such type of interference of light is called constructive interference. Now what are the conditions for constructive interference? So condition is that the waves must be meet in phase. The waves must be meet in phase. Means first we have to find phase difference and path difference. Conditions for constructive interference. Conditions. Conditions for constructive interference. What is the first condition? First condition is phase difference. Phase difference. So what is the formula to find the phase difference? That is pi is equal to 2n phi. 2n phi. Then phase difference in case of constructive interference is even multiple of pi. Even multiple of pi. 2n is even number. Even multiple of pi. And where n takes the values from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Okay. Next, what about path difference? Path difference is can be represented by x. Then path difference is equal to 2n lambda by 2. 2n lambda by 2 means it is even multiple of lambda by 2, otherwise it is n into lambda. 2 get it cancel means here it is n into lambda. And where n takes the values from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Then here n is the order of bright fringe or dark fringe. Here constructive interference, in case of constructive interference bright fringe will be formed. Means 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on are the orders of bright fringes. Okay. Now what is the phase difference for the constructive interference? That is pi is equal to 2n pi. And what is the path difference in case of constructive interference? 2n lambda by 2 means even multiple of lambda by 2. Next, the resultant amplitude in case of constructive interference. Now we are discussing the constructive interference. Resultant amplitude. Resultant amplitude. Resultant amplitude of resultant wave. Now see here, what is the resultant amplitude in case of constructive interference? That is A is equal to, A is nothing but it is resultant amplitude of resultant wave. When two waves are overlapped on each other, we will get the resultant wave. The resultant amplitude of resultant wave that can be represented by A, then A is equal to square root of A1 square. A1 is the amplitude of first wave, A2 square, A2 is the amplitude of second wave, plus 2A1 into A2 cos pi, cos pi. What is pi here? Pi is phase difference between the waves, where pi is the phase difference between the waves. Between the waves. Now, what about resultant intensity? One thing remember, intensity is directly proportional to amplitude square. So next one, resultant intensity. Resultant intensity. So see here, the intensity of first wave, that is I1 is equal to k into A1 square. K is the constant factor. Then intensity of second wave, that is I2 is equal to k into A2 square. K into A2 square. Then intensity of resultant wave. So intensity of first wave taken as I1, then I1 is equal to k into A1 square. A1 is the amplitude of first wave, and intensity of second wave, that is I2, then I2 is equal to k into A2 square. A2 is the amplitude of second wave. Then the intensity of resultant wave, that is k into A square. K into A square. What is A here? A is nothing but it is the amplitude of resultant wave. Then so we can write A1 as square root of I1 divided by square root of k. Means I will take this k to the left hand side. Then A1 is equal to square root of I1 divided by square root of k. Then A2 is equal to square root of I2 divided by square root of k. And what about A? A is square root of I divided by square root of k. Square root of k. Now putting these in this equation, then we will get the resultant intensity. Now what about A? A is nothing but square root of I by square root of k. Square root of I by square root of k. Then square root of A1 square. A1 square is nothing but that is I1 by k. I1 by k. See here. We need A1 square. What about A1 square? I will take this k to the left hand side, that comes to the denominator. Then A1 square is equal to I1 by k. Then A2 square, I2 by k, plus 2 A1. What about A1? Square root of I1 divided by square root of k. Square root of I1 divided by square root of k. And what about A2? A2 is square root of I2 divided by square root of k into cos pi. So now squaring on both sides. Here square root get cancel. Square root get cancel. Then square root I becomes I, square root k becomes k. Then here square root get cancelled because squaring on both sides. Then we can write I1 by k plus I2 by k plus 2 root I1 into I2. 2 root I1 into I2, because root A into root B can be written as root A into B. Okay. Now root I1 into root I2, that can be written as root I1 into I2. Then divided by root k into root k, that is k into cos pi. Now what get cancelled here? K get cancelled because k is common. Now we can write I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 into I2 cos pi. So this is the formula used to find the resultant intensity. Okay, what is the formula used to find the resultant intensity? That is I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 into I2 cos pi. And one thing remember, in case of constructive interference, cos pi is 1, cos pi is plus 1. Then we can write I is equal to, in case of which interference? Now we are discussing constructive interference. In case of constructive interference, cos pi is plus 1. Then we can replace cos pi by plus 1. Then I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 into I2. 2 root I1 into I2. Now, so this equation can be written as I is equal to, means resultant intensity is equal to square root of I1 plus square root of I2 whole square. Square root of I1 plus square root of I2 whole square. Then expand this one. You will get same thing. See here. So A plus B whole square formula. What is A plus B whole square? A square plus B square plus 2AB. A square means here root I1 square. root I1 square is I1 and b square root I2 square, that is I2, plus 2ab means 2 into root I1 into root I2, that is root I1 into I2. Now it is the maximum intensity. It is the maximum intensity. Then maximum intensity is root I1 plus root I2 whole square. Root I1 plus root I2 whole square. So now this is the formula used to find the maximum intensity. Now in case of constructive interference, cos pi is plus 1. Okay. Now the maximum intensity in case of constructive interference is root I1 plus root I2 whole square. Then what about the maximum amplitude? Maximum amplitude. Maximum amplitude. So what is root I1? Root I1 is nothing but A1. Root I1. So see here. I1 square, sorry, I1 is equal to K into A1 square. K1 into A square. Then root I1 is equal to root K into A1. Root K into A1. And similarly, root I2 is equal to root K into A2. Okay. Now substituting these values in this equation, we will get the resultant amplitude, means maximum amplitude in case of constructive interference. Now I is equal to K into A square. A is the amplitude. Now so we can write root I is equal to root K into A, means taking square root on both sides. Next, substitute here. I maximum is nothing but that is K A square. K A square. Then root I1. What about root I1? That is root K A1. Root K A1 plus what about this one? Root I2, that is root K A2. Root K A2 whole square. Root K A2 whole square. Now so root K is common, then root K square, that is K, then it is A1 plus A2 whole square. A1 plus A2 whole square, then it is K into A square. See here, in these two what is common? Root K is common, but root K square is there. Root K square is nothing but K, and K get cancel, then A square is equal to A1 plus A2 whole square. Then square get cancel, then we will get the maximum amplitude in case of constructive interference, that is A1 plus A2. So this is all about the constructive interference. In similar manner, we are going to discuss the destructive interference. What are the conditions for destructive interference? First condition, the phase difference. Phase difference is 2n minus of 1 into pi. Destructive interference. Destructive interference. Then phase difference in case of destructive interference, I will write directly phase difference. Phase difference, that is pi is equal to 2n minus of 1 into pi. So phase difference in case of destructive interference is odd multiple of pi. Odd multiple of pi. 2n minus of 1 is odd number. Okay, odd multiple of pi. For example, let us put n is 0. Sorry, let us put n is 1. 2 into 1. 2 into 1 is 2. 2 minus of 1, 1 pi. 1 is odd number. Now let us take n as 2. Then 2 into 2, 4. 4 minus of 1, 3. 3 pi. 3 is odd integer. Means the phase difference in case of destructive interference is odd multiple of pi. And what about path difference? And one thing here, n takes the values from 1, 2, 3 and so on. And in case of destructive interference, dark fringe will be formed because intensity is minimum. Intensity of resultant wave is minimum. Now, what about path difference? Path difference, that is x is equal to 2n minus of 1 into lambda by 2, odd multiple of lambda by 2, 2n minus of 1 into lambda by 2. Then this is the path difference in case of destructive interference, again where n takes the values from 1, 2, 3 and so on. Then what about the resultant amplitude in case of destructive interference? Same formula, that is A is equal to square root of A1 square A2 square plus 2 A1 into A2 cos phi. A1 square plus A2 square plus 2 A1 into A2 cos phi. But one thing remember, in case of destructive interference, cos phi is minus 1. Cos phi is minus 1. In case of constructive interference, cos phi is plus 1, but in case of destructive interference, cos phi is minus 1. Then this equation can be written as A is equal to A1 square plus A2 square plus A2 square plus 2 A1 into A2 minus 1, then plus into minus, then it is root A1 square plus A2 square plus into minus 2 A1 into A2. Then this is in the form of A minus B whole square. A minus B whole square. What is A minus B whole square? A square plus B square minus 2AB. Now, I will write this is in the form of A minus B whole square. Here A is nothing but A1, B is nothing but A2. Then A1 minus A2 whole square. Then it is A. Then square root square get cancelled. Then A is equal to A1 minus A2. So this is minimum amplitude, because in case of destructive interference, the amplitudes get subtracted because crust falls on trough and trough falls on crust. See, this is one wave and this is another wave. Crust of first wave falls on the trough of second wave, and the crust of first wave falls on the crust of second wave. Means crust on trough and trough on crust. This type of interference is called destructive interference, and in destructive interference amplitudes get subtracted. And in similar manner, intensity, resultant intensity. So A is nothing but root I, means root of resultant intensity. Then A1 is nothing but root I1 minus root I2. Then squaring on both sides. Then square root get cancelled. Then it is I. Then it is root I1 minus root I2 whole square. Now it is minimum intensity, I minimum. Root I1 minus root I2 whole square. So in the next class we will solve the numericals related to the Doppler effect and also interference of light. Okay.